let's talk about books. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Taylor and I normally on this channel talk about crochet stuff. So a little bit of books thrown in, but today is a solely book video and I'm really excited. It's my first one. So give this video a like if you like talking about books or if any of these are on your TBR right now, and let's just get started. So this is going to be the 26 books I would like to read over the next year. I just turned 26 on November 8th, so happy belated birthday to me. This video is coming out a little bit after my birthday, but that is okay because I had a lot of fun my entire birthday week. My best friend made it just the most wonderful birthday that I've ever had, I think. So yeah, let's start out with, I think, the smallest category. First book. These are in no particular order, by the way. I'm gonna go kind of by genre. So this first one is a romance, and like I don't own a ton of romance books because a lot of times I like read them and then I'm like, cool, and I get rid of them. I like listening to audiobooks and reading like the ebooks of romances just because it's like, unless it really resonates with me, I don't always feel the need to keep it. But I've heard a lot of very good things about this series in particular. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I loved Gossip Girl. Heard this is very Gossip Girl-esque. So I'm excited to read this one. And then I know that the series is concluding, I think, in like February of 2024. So book number 1, and the only like solely romance book that I have. And then second category is horror books. So for this one I have The City of Mist Stories. And this is super tiny. This is like a little novella. I could probably sit down and read this today if I wanted to, but I really don't know anything about this book. I just remember seeing it at Barnes & Noble and being like, mine now. But I really want to get more into horror, and I've read Stephen King's The Mist, and that was pretty good. So yeah, trying this one. I had to take a quick detour, make sure you couldn't hear any of the background noises that were going on. So the other book I have in the horror kind of genre is Stephen King's Pet Sematary. I've heard that this is a very good book, but also very intense, so I want to read more Stephen King. I have a ton of his books, but I just haven't read a ton of his books, so I need to change that. Next is poetry. I have 3 poetry books here. 2 are by the same author, and then 1 is by an author I've read a couple times. So this one is House Fires by Connor Franta. I read his memoir that I thought was really good, and then I also read Note to Self, which is his other poetry book, and I really think that his books are unique in that they include personal essays, poems, and photography. So I just really like that. I think it's really interesting. I do think that, you know, when a person who's 23 writes a memoir, it's kind of like, oh, okay. But then to come out with 2 poetry, personal essay, photography type books, I'm like, okay, you're an author now. And I really enjoyed Note to Self, so I want to read House Fires. And then the next 2 books I believe are the two of the newer books by Courtney Peppernill. I feel like she always has something new in Target. The Way Back Home and Time Will Tell. I honestly didn't really like Pillow Thoughts very much. I thought that they were very baseline, but I read Watering the Soul, which I think was the first one of these little creature spirit things that she's got going on. And I really find these poems to be of a lot more depth and reflection, and yeah, I haven't read poetry in a long time, and I really want to get back into writing my poetry. and maybe start posting it. I don't know. I think that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, so those are the 3 poetry books I want to read. Dystopian next. So first one is Parables of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. A lot of people say that if you like The Handmaid's Tale, you'll like Parables of the Sower. It actually starts in 2024. It's a dystopian, like, what if the United States went in this way? So apparently it's a lot more realistic than The Handmaid's Tale, which kind of makes me scared. So I want to read that before it becomes a super banned book. The Future by Catherine Leroux. This is a translated from French book. I found this when I was in Cleveland for work. Isn't that cover just so cool? And basically what it is, it's an alternate history, which is why it's like dystopian, right? Of Detroit, because I guess Detroit used to be owned by the French or something. And so kids like are running Detroit, and this woman is like trying to reconnect with her grandson, and I don't know, the bookstore owner that I bought this from said that it was really, really good because he read it. So there's that one. Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Basterica. I have always known of this book, but I guess I never knew what it was about until I was at the same bookstore I bought The Future in. And it's basically animal meat is now tainted, so now we eat human meat. And the butcher basically falls in love with a woman that's supposed to come in for processing. So, little short guy. My high school best friend texted me when she saw I bought this, and she was like, "That book is so good." And I was like, say less. So, and then the last one is, I'm so late to the game on this one, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I know that the movie is coming out really soon, and I'm sure there's gonna be so many edits and this and that and the other. So I definitely feel like I should get into this really soon. But yeah, Cornelius Snow, right? Coriolanus. I thought he was always Cornelius. Dang, that's a Mandela effect right there. Next category is fantasy, and the first book we're going to start out with is A Dark Academia, Babel by R.F. Kuang. This really like took BookTube by storm last year. Everyone was reading it and a lot of people loved it. I didn't have the book at the time, and now I have it, and I'm so excited to read it. Yeah, I don't know. It's about a school. And then the rest of the books in this category are like fantasy and like a little romantic-y type of thing. This one is just strictly fantasy though. Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. Last year, end of the year, probably into early this year, I watched the Game of Thrones TV series for the first time, and oh my goodness, did I fall in love. I really don't like the first episode, and I don't like the way that they portray violence against women and all that stuff. But, you know, we live in a world where there is a lot of violence against women, so anyway, I loved the TV series. I want to read the books because they are just chock full of fun lore, and I love lore. I do own all of these books, but I've started it. It's just very, very dense. Like, and by started it, I mean I'm on page 58 of this big boy. So. Next one, From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is also a beast. I've read 30 pages. Oh. I've tried reading this book before. I hear so many mixed reviews about it. I don't know how I'll feel. I'll read the first one. If I hate it, I won't continue the series. But I also have this problem where I like finishing series even if I'm not super tied to it. So I would probably end up checking out the books from the library or something. But I would like to read this one. And then the last two are Sarah J. Maas books. Crescent City and Throne of Glass. The third book in this series comes out, I believe, in January. And I haven't even read the first one. But I've heard that, like, Throne of Glass is awesome. I've read ACOTAR. I really liked it. See, I have this thing where I read, like, the first 20 pages of a book, and then I'm just like, I don't know. Something really has to, like, catch my attention. I just, like, and it's not that I don't want to read the book, and it's not even, I wouldn't even consider it a DNF. It's just, like, I just kind of, like, tasted the book. This one I haven't even tasted. Like, I bought it, and it went up on my shelf, and I was just like, yeah, I'll get to this sometime. And now it just stares at me all the time. And then the final category is the one with the most books. Non-fiction. Woo, I love learning things. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is important. So, I'm going to tell you about all of my stuff. I really love reading about women's rights, women's issues, all that sort of stuff. So, a lot of these are books about women. So, we'll start off with a heavy hitter, Men Who Hate Women by Laura Bates. From incels to pickup artists, the truth about extreme misogyny and how it affects us all. I also need to take a wipe to that. So, yeah. This one I've heard from many people, it is very, I don't want to say difficult to get through because it's not difficult because it's bad. It's difficult because the subject matter is so heavy, and as a woman, it's very hard to read about groups of men who, like, hate me, I guess. Why Men Love, trying to be YouTube friendly. From Doormat to Dream Girl, A Woman's Guide to Holding Her Own in a Relationship. This says over 1 million copies sold. I know that there's, like, a lot to be said about, whatchamacallit, kind of like these manipulative books that come out, blah, blah, blah. I think it's interesting if over 1 million people have read this book, or like 1 million people have like bought copies of it. I want to see what the hype is about. And maybe it'll be good. I don't know. The Lonely City, Adventures in the Art of Being Alone. I have read a teeny tiny bit of this when I was in college. Basically, it kind of goes through art pieces in New York City and all this stuff. So I'm excited to get into this. I really do presume, I plan on keeping my peace and, like, staying alone for a while. So All the Single Ladies by Rebecca Tracer. Also one with a bookmark in it. What is this one at? 42. So, Unmarried Women and the Rise of an Independent Nation. All About Love, New Visions by Bell Hooks. Yeah, a lot of these are about love and relationships and all that stuff. I just find it really interesting how women have been told, like, we shouldn't have any of the power in relationships and all this stuff, and now that more and more adult women are choosing to stay single or, like, really upping their standards in relationships. I want to see how we got here. I mean, not that I didn't learn about the feminist movement in high school, but I don't know. Let me grab the other ones that are all about women, and then I have one that's, like, not. I should have just said, this is all my feminist works. So, Untamed by Glennon Doyle. This one is a memoir about a woman who decides to take back her life. I believe she's in her 40s or something. 30s, 40s. So, The Ethical Slut. About redefining relationships and the way that we look at relationships in the modern day. This one says 200,000 copies sold. Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, A Practical Guide for improving communication and getting what you want in relationships. When God Was a Woman, this is probably the one I'll start with. This is more of a history type of book. The landmark exploration of the ancient worship of the great goddess and eventual separation of women's rights. The reason I found this book was actually through TikTok. A woman read a passage from it, and I was just like, I need that book. I need it. So I put it on my Amazon list, and my best friend got it for me for Christmas last year. Or my birthday, one of the two. But I still need to read it, so I'm going to read it. And then The Beauty Myth by Naomi Wolf. How images of beauty are used against women. So, I've heard very good things about this book, so I'm excited. Because my brain needs that. This was off of a recommendation from a friend. She said that it helped her look at women and bodies in very different ways than how the world basically teaches us to. And the final book I have is called Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and Teachings of the Plains. So, I heard someone else on BookTube talk about this book, and she said that it was like really, really good. Oh, sorry about that. I had to grab a different memory card. So Braiding Sweetgrass, I saw another woman on BookTube talking about this book and how she found it to be very insightful and really interesting, and so then I decided I needed the book. I've gotten really into nonfiction. I do read nonfiction pretty slowly, though. I read Hood Feminism earlier in this year, and it took me probably around 4 months to read it. I don't know, there's nothing wrong with reading a book slow, though. That's the thing, is I feel like I love BookTube and Bookstagram and Book Talk and all that stuff, but I feel like it very much promotes this very hyper consumerism of books. I mean, like you have to read them fast in order to like be valid or, you know, this or that and the other. But yeah, those are 26 books that I want to read over the next year. Comment down below which one you would want to read, or if any of these books are on your TBR. I'd love to know, and if you liked them. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited to jumpstart my year 26. And we'll come back when I'm 27 and we'll see which ones of these books I read. Hopefully all of them. Excuse me. Speaking into existence that I'm going to read all these books. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Bye.